Hello and welcome into Unadvised here on the Sports Animal YouTube, Facebook, and right here on the Unadvised X account. I am Preston Poole alongside Tyler Adams. Teabag, follow us on Twitter at PrestonPoole405, at Tyler's Takes. The pod account is at Unadvised Pod. We are here with you tonight for a little NBA preview, if you will. We're going to get into some of the action that happened last night, and we'll preview what we think is going to happen this season. We'll pick, conference winners, finals, all that stuff, and then the awards as well. But before that, T-Bag, how you doing on this fine? I almost said Thursday. This fine Wednesday evening.
I'm doing great, Preston, because we actually get to talk about good things in Oklahoma outside of the bad things with OU and OSU football. I'm a victim of the moment a lot of times, and I always have recency bias. I admit that about myself. But I can't remember the last time I was this excited for an NBA season. I think we'll get into it. I think we got a clear team in one conference and two or three teams in the other conference. But I think other than that, I think we have some really good teams all around the league. And I'm just pumped to watch it this year, and especially the Oklahoma City Thunder. I can't wait for the season tip-off tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing some research, looking at kind of who was picking what, who's doing what on some of the predictions of like ESPN and stuff like that. A lot of Thunder in the NBA Finals. So, but we'll get into that. Obviously, the Thunder kick off their season tomorrow in Denver as they take on the Nuggets. That one at 9 p.m. on TNT. You can also obviously hear that on the Sports Animal, your home for Thunder basketball. Let's get right into it. What'd you think of the Knicks Celtics game last night? I mean, the Celtics just beat the hell out of the Knicks. I think they broke the all-time record for threes in an NBA game as well.
They tied it.
Oh, they tied it. Okay.
And then at the end of the game, they literally were just shooting threes just left and right.
I remember seeing that, but I didn't know if they had actually hit one. So. They were.
I found the radio call this morning when I was editing audio for the Morning Animals, and the radio guys were like, at this point, they're trying way too hard. Like the own Celtics radio guys, like they're trying way too hard to break this record. But yeah, they made 29 threes last night.
Yeah, crazy.
Just everything about the Celtics this year is super scary. I think they're. I don't want to say by far and away, but pretty close to by far and away, as long as they're healthy. I think they're going to repeat.
For sure. Harry on YouTube says tuning in as I pack for my trip to Memphis and Ole Miss. Get some barbecue while you're out there in Memphis.
By the way, Harry, I saw Shane Beamer gave you a shout out on Twitter and whatever, and said what's up to you in the stands after the OU game on Saturday.
How about that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that the Celtics are just crazy. What's the saying? The Celtics are the balls. The
Celtics are the ball. They're the balls this year.
they were pretty.
Jason
good.
Tatum was on a mission last night too. I mean,
yeah, he said you don't want to play me in the Olympics. I think I'll play here and just shoot the hell out of the ball.
Yeah. What 14 of 19 for 37? Just
8
of 11 for 3 or something.
Good.
He had a pretty good game.
One. Yeah, Celtics won that one 132 to 109. It was just never close in that one. And then how about the Timberwolves and the Lakers last night? The Lakers win that one 110 to 103 in the game that Anthony Davis looked good. If he can stay healthy for the whole season, I think he's got a shot at being, maybe one of those guys that could be in contention for like most improved or bounce back player, whatever they do in the NBA. Because, he's just missed so much time the last handful of seasons being injured.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to stay relatively healthy last year. So can he do that again this year? That's the ultimate question. But yeah, I mean, he had a great game last night. Anthony Davis, when he's on, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And if he can do just consistently what he was able to do last night, he's gonna be a first team all NBA guy, in my opinion. I'm not high on the Lakers in the sense I don't think they're gonna win a championship, but I'm high on the Lakers, and I think this could be LeBron's second best team he's had in LA since they won the bubble. I mean, they did make the Western Conference Finals a couple of years ago, so maybe that team's probably the second best teams he's had. But this is one of the better teams he's had since he's come into the NBA. Austin Reeves is a really solid player. Then you got guys like Max Christie and Jordan Hayes, or what's his name? Is it Jordan? Jason Hayes.
Yeah.
So you got guys like that. So I think the Lakers would be a pretty decent basketball team, but I don't think they're contenders in the West.
No thoughts on Bronny James getting 3 minutes last night?
Everyone's just so torn about you have to have an opinion one way or the other on it. It feels like, and I'm in this category. If Bronny James is playing consistently throughout the season, that's going to start making me mad, because it's like he's not an NBA player. Like, let's be real, he's not. But I understand like why he's in the NBA. I understand like LeBron James has done so much for the game of basketball that he can be selfish in this sense, in my opinion. But let's not compare this like King Griffey Jr. and King Griffey Sr., because it's not that
at all. Those guys were actually both very good.
Yeah, I mean, they're both Hall of Famers. If LeBron would have retired 3 years ago, Bronny James is still in college basketball right now. So I'm not like, oh, that's the coolest thing ever, because it's like we know why it happened. But I am glad they pulled the Band-Aid, and it doesn't bother me that he's on the team. I mean, it sucks that someone is getting left out of a job somewhere out there. But it will start bothering me if he's playing consistently.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. 3 minutes is fine. I think 3 minutes is.
Pull the Band-Aid on the first game, get it done and over with. Don't play the rest of the season.
Yeah, now send him back to the G League. Or send him to the G League, which I think he's making too much money to play in the G League, but who knows? Before we get into our Western Conference, Eastern Conference preview, CW on YouTube did ask, how do you guys think Giddey does in Chi-Town this season? Look, I think Josh Giddey is a good basketball player. The issue was he just did not fit what the Thunder wanted to do going forward, or really ever, I think, in my opinion. He just never fit what the Thunder wanted to do. He's got great instincts. Obviously not the best shooter in the world, right? I think everyone could agree with that, but the guy is great on inbound passes and stuff like that, out of timeouts and all that. So I think he's going to be good in Chicago. And if, they let him play the way that he, wants to play, he's very good when he has the ball in his hands and is able to facilitate. So that's what I'll say about Josh Giddey.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said. Preston, I can already see the call. You let me know when it happens, because I'm not always tuning into the post-game shows. But you let me know when it happens, whenever you guys get the calls. Giddey and Matt, the Thunder let go Josh Giddey last year. He's been playing really good for the Bulls. Because I do think Josh Giddey is going to have a good season.
Yeah.
I do think he's a good basketball player. It's just what the Thunder, the 5-out that they play, the defense that they play, you have to be able to shoot the ball to have a spot in this team. He just wasn't a fit, but that doesn't mean he's not going to find a home where he's going to be a really good player for someone. Yeah. I think Chicago is a good spot for him for the time being.
Yeah, and CW also asked, you think he averages double-digit assists per game?
I think he could.
Maybe. I don't know if Chicago's going to be any good.
That's the thing. It's like you can give all the great passes in the world. The other guy still doesn't make it.
Yeah, exactly. So. We'll see. We'll see about the Bulls. I'm not too high on the Bulls this season. All right. So the way we're going to do this, I went online and I picked the top 5 teams out of each conference that have the best odds to win said conference. So it'll be the top 5 teams with the best odds in the West, the top 5 teams with the best odds in the Eastern Conference. Now it might not reflect in like win totals and stuff like that, but betting odds, these are the teams that they think are going to finish in the top 5 in each conference. So we'll start in the Western Conference, and obviously the team with the best chances to win the Western Conference are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Right now, their win total in Vegas is 57.5. I love the hat. I need to get me some merch. I haven't bought new Thunder merch in a while.
I got this from the Thunder the other night when I went to the arena.
Oh, really?
For the fan night preview. They gave me this hat, and it's quarter-worthy. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh yeah, it's a nice hat. Love the cool. The Loves patch on the side as well.
Yeah, the Loves patch. At first, I was like, but then I was like, no, the Loves patch is actually really cool.
I might have to. I might have to give me one of them.
Stole you one.
But the Thunder win total in Vegas right now, 57.5. That is the most in the Western Conference. And when you look at this team, T-Bag, they have everything that you could possibly want to go out and win an NBA championship. I think, they addressed the needs that they had in the offseason, getting Caruso and Hartenstein. Obviously, Hartenstein probably going to be out until, around Thanksgiving is the timeline that they've given us, right? But
Let's
it
hope
would
he's back by Christmas.
exactly.
That's ideally he's back by Christmas.
Yeah, somewhere Christmas, mid-December, somewhere in there is when I would probably expect him to come back, and that's fine. That's fine, right?
You can live with it.
I think they're a good enough team and a good enough roster to be able to get through that stretch of games.
They didn't have him last year.
Exactly, and
they know how to play without. They know how to play without him. So
exactly. So the only issue is how healthy is Jalen Williams going to be in that stretch, right? Jay Will, because I think you need him to be the backup center and not have to rely on a guy like Ousmane Dieng, who love him to death, nice guy, right? We got a chance to talk to him at media day, but I don't know what his future is with this team.
He might get, like the Trey Man kind of thing where he might just have to go find a new home and maybe he can thrive there, just not getting because I think the thing with Ousmane right now is I think he just needs to play, but right now
and he's still
the Thunder's just not the opportunity for him.
Yeah, he's still just so young where it's like
he's raw.
You can see stuff from him, but he's just so young, and he's on a team now that's not going to be able to get him as much playing time as he probably needs to, progress into the future. So I could see him with the blue a lot this season, right? And I forgot to mention the Thunder did exercise the options on a bunch of these guys' contracts today. Chet, J-Dub, Ousmane Dieng, and Cason Wallace. They exercise all the options, so that means they'll have them under contract for an extra year. So those guys are under contract for the next couple of years for the Thunder. But when you look at this Thunder team, we all know who it goes through, right? And that's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I am expecting another leap from him this season. I think that's going to be in his three-point shooting. Because that's something when you sit down and you listen to all the practice audio and stuff like that, that's something that they've really hammered home this season is that they want to take more 3 points or 3-pointers, I should say. And they're a team that led the league in 3-point shooting percentage last year. So I think that's a smart move. And I think that that's just going to add another element to Shai's game that could, propel him to maybe possibly win an MVP this season.
Yeah, man, I'm super high on this Thunder team. I think as long as they can stay healthy throughout the playoffs, I think they're the clear favorite in the West. Adding Hartenstein, I think, is going to be a great addition once he does get healthy. I mean, we saw it in the preseason what he can do. Hartenstein can pass. I mean, he's one of the best passing big men in the league. I mean, outside of Jokic, Hartenstein's right up there. I mean, Jokic is on another level when it comes to that. But I'm super high on him. I think adding Alex Caruso is just going to be one of the most – and I know, Preston, you just love Alex Caruso. I mean, I think – it's hard not to, but I know you're super high on him and what he's going to bring to this team. Just his veteran leadership. He's only 30, but his veteran leadership, NBA championship experience, played with guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I think what he's going to bring isn't maybe not even being talked about enough, because I think by the time we're a month into the season, we're like Alex Caruso is one of the most key pieces on this team with the way he can defend, with the way he can shoot, with just his IQ and what he's going to bring to the team and to the locker room and stuff as well. I'm with you. I think Shai is going to make a massive step this year. I think J-Dub is going to take a massive step this year. I think we're going to see an all-star appearance from J-Dub this year. I think Chet is going to take a really big step, especially when Hartenstein is healthy and on the court with Chet and taking off some of that, big man load that Chet,
it just alleviates so much stuff off him. Yeah.
Chet can handle it, but he can't. I mean, as we saw last year where he just got worn down so many times, it's hard for him to handle it night in and night out.
Yeah.
Getting physical down low and stuff. But then just their defense. I mean, their defense is just going to be unstoppable or stoppable. Elite defense.
Yes,
elite defense.
They should, on paper, they have the best defense in the NBA.
Yeah, I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is one of their lesser defenders.
He's still good.
Led the league in steals. Led the league in steals significantly last year. Like there's Shai, then like a step down, second place, and Shai's like one of their like like not as good defenders, and
Yeah.
he is still a very, very, very good defender. And then just the shooting the ball aspect. You're deep. You got off the bench. You got Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins. You're gonna have Hardside coming off the bench. Jay Will. I mean, shoot, I'm probably forgetting Casey Wallace. Just so many guys just on that roster to where it's like dude after dude after dude. So I think, Preston, this could be a very, 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 very special year for the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I completely agree with you.
And they've got a great coach too.
Yeah, and he's obviously won the Coach of the Year last year. I don't think he's going to win it again this year. It's just one of those things where you don't see guys win it like back-to-back years and stuff like that. So
we'll get into that. I got a guy I think that I even might bet on it because I think I got a sleeper guy. He's got fairly high odds, but I like the number.
All righty. Well, yeah, we'll get into that later on when we're picking our award winners. But I mean, in terms of the Thunder, this is a year where if you don't make it to the NBA Finals, it's kind of a disappointment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe not the Finals. It would be disappointing if they don't.
You absolutely have to make it to the Western Conference Finals.
The Western Conference Finals, I think you absolutely have to make it to if you're healthy. There's no one in the West that scares me. I mean, we're about to talk about the Dallas Mavs. I'm high again on the Dallas Mavericks. I think they're still a really good basketball team. I think they're going to be right there with the Thunder. But Preston, the Thunder last year they didn't do it, and the Mavericks won that series fair and square. They won that series fair and square. Like, there's no excuse making for what I'm about to say. The Thunder were 7-8 shots away total in the whole series from winning that game in like 5 or even 6.
Well, and let's be honest, they didn't shoot the ball as well as they did in the regular season in that series. So
if they shot it 5% better, they win that series.
And you had guys on the Mavericks, PJ Washington to be an example, who just shot the best percentage he's ever shot in his career by many, many, many numbers.
And it didn't make. I think he went from Game 6. So he shot lights out Game 6 against the Thunder. And I think he went from Game 1 of the West Finals, like Game 2 of the NBA Finals, without making a 3 or something like that.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that can happen in the playoffs, right? And then that happened to the Thunder last year. So I agree with you. The Mavs obviously won that one outright. The Thunder, really looking back at it, they had a chance, but them not shooting the ball as well as they did, that kind of took them out of that series. But I think
going into this year, that makes me confident that they can handle the Mavs. It's not going to be easy, but I think they can beat the Mavs.
Yeah.
In a 5-6 game series.
Well, and let's just get into it with the Dallas Mavericks. I mean, does them adding Klay Thompson, that really the only piece that they add, really make you think that they're going to be that much better than what they were last year?
I think it makes them a little bit better. I mean, not enough to where it scares you, kind of thing.
Yeah.
What I'll say about the Mavs is the reason I'm high on them this year is not only did they make the Western Conference or the NBA Finals last year and won the Western Conference, they caught fire kind of at the end of the All-Star break at the trade deadline when they traded for Gafford and when they traded for PJ Washington.
Yeah. Oh, no, did we lose?
Able to understand how to play together. Hello. Kyrie and Lucas started being able to play together. They caught fire, and they were truly the best. If you just go from All-Star break, so like mid-late February to when they won the Western Conference Finals, they were definitely the second best team in the NBA. If you just look at their record, what they're able to do in the playoffs, who they're able to beat, how they were playing, how they were scoring and able to defend, and just they were a really, really good team coming down the stretch. So I think that continuity going into this year is going to make them a really, really good basketball team.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be a good basketball team as well. But the issue for me is, and I hate to say it, but like you had Luka, who was supposedly hurt the whole entire playoffs, right? Still is out there putting up massive numbers. So I tend to not believe that. And is he going to be healthy all season? Because he's already banged up before training camp started. Obviously, I think he's going to start the season and be fine, but that's an issue for me. And I don't know. It's also for me, I've got a buddy that's a massive Mavericks fan, and
Me too.
so I just have to sit and listen to him talk about the Mavericks all the time, and he never says a bad thing about the Mavericks. So I tend to just hate the Dallas Mavericks.
You know the guy that MFFL, Mavs fan for life on Twitter.
Yeah.
I know that guy. I went to college with him.
Yeah, so it's
Insufferable.
I think the Mavericks, and my buddy's gonna text me because I told him the other day when we were out in the garage at like 3 a.m. having a couple drinks that the Mavericks were like the 5th best team in the West, just to rile them up a little bit. The Mavericks are going to be the 2nd best team in the Western Conference. I do believe at the end of the season. Their win total, it seemed a little low to me, 49.5 right now. So I would take them probably to win 53 games.
Yeah, I would take that over. Yeah.
I think that's a good number. The only thing is, adding just Klay Thompson doesn't inspire me to think that this team is going to be that much better and that Klay's going to be able to do so much for them, because he's 33, 34, somewhere in there.
Coming
and
off
just
2 major injuries and stuff.
Exactly. And didn't really shoot the ball as well. The last, was it last year? And I think he came on a little bit towards the end of the season, but just career lows, I think, for him last year. So we'll see. I do think the Mavericks are probably the 2nd best team in the Western Conference. So
yeah, I'm with you. I agree too. And the reason I say that is because we're about to talk about these other teams. The Mavericks, they have depth. It's not Thunder depth, but they have depth compared to some of these other teams.
Well, and you look at these other teams, and you're like, well, I don't know. Like they've lost players. They're old. So it just kind of makes sense that it's going to be the Thunder and the Mavericks in the West. So yeah, let's get into another team. The team that the Thunder see game 1 of the season in Denver. That's the Denver Nuggets. Their win total right now at 50.5. If you asked Mike Malone about his basketball team right now, he'd tell you that they're fat, lazy, and slow. He probably wouldn't say it in those terms, but you might get pretty close to him saying that he was not happy how they came out in training camp. He thought that they were a little sluggish, not fit to play and all that. So what are your thoughts on the Denver Nuggets this year?
I mean, I think they're going to be kind of what they were last year, a second round, maybe a Western Conference Finals kind of team. I mean, obviously when you got Jokic, Murray, and not KCP, MPJ,
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, Michael Porter Jr. And then guys like Aaron Gordon, who just also got an extension. I love Aaron Gordon, by the way.
He's good.
I think he's such not underrated, because I think people understand how good he is, but I just love his game. I want him on did want him on the Thunder so bad, but knew that was never going to happen. But just another team, you look at their depth. I mean, Russell Westbrook's going to be their 6th, 7th man.
Yeah.
We love Russell Westbrook. Everyone around here loves Russell Westbrook, but let's be real about him. He's not what he used to be.
He's been in the league for so long now. I was looking that up the other day, and I was like, dude, he's been in the league for a while.
What, 2008
would
the
have
Thunder's
been
first year. The Thunder's first year is his first year. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's been in the league 16 years now at this point, which is
this
crazy
would be his 17th year this year. I mean, so I think Denver is a super good basketball team. Obviously, I mean, you'd be dumb to say they're not. I don't think they're an NBA championship team, but I'm also, with all this said, I'm not going to be shocked if they won the West, just because of if Jokic does what Jokic does and Murray plays like he did during their championship run. I mean, that alone can get you where you want to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of with CW on YouTube. So Denver got worse without KCP.
Yeah,
and then adding Russ. I agree with that. I think Russ still has something to give to the game of basketball. I think it's just off the bench, like they're gonna use him. It does say something though that Jokic singled him out as one of the guys that he wanted on that squad. So
if the Thunder don't win the championship this year, I would like to see Denver win it so Russell can get his ring.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Or they just send him to Oklahoma City at the deadline and he wins one in Oklahoma City. So do you have the Nuggets going over that 50.5, or do you think they're hanging around that 50.5, somewhere around there?
It's a good question, man. I'll say under, just because of how deep the West is right now.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to have a lot of 51 teams. I think the Thunder and the Mavericks are probably 51 teams. And I think after that, it's going to be a lot of teetering 51 teams. So I think the Nuggets are going to be right on at that number, right around. But I'll go ahead and say under because Murray could, has known for some injuries here and there. Michael
Yeah,
Porter known for some injuries here and there. Jokic as a big guy could get hurt. So Russell, is not going to be able to perform at a high level like he would want to night in and night out. So I would probably lean the under on that one.
I would as well. And
Yeah.
when I say under, I'm thinking like 47, 48.
Yeah. I
Barely.
still think they're going to be a 3 or 4 seed in the West.
Yeah, completely agree. By the way, I don't know if we ever picked if we want to go over or under on the Thunder win total 57.5.
Oh,
I would probably go under and
probably. That's such a big
say
number,
like
man.
55.
That's
At
such a
55 wins because like you said, 57.5 is a massive, massive number. And look,
Yeah.
I said last year that they were probably going to win about 40 something games like they did the year before. And they came out and said, hey, dude, you're stupid. We're going to win 50 something. So they could come out and they could win 63. Who knows? But I'm going to pick them to win about 55 games, somewhere in there. So kind of around where they were last year. I forget how many wins they had last year, but somewhere in that ballpark. All right, let's head to Minnesota and talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Their win total 51.5. Obviously, they trade away Karl Anthony Towns. He just signed Gobert to a big contract yesterday before that game. They get back Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo in that trade with the Knicks. I think Gobert is one of the softest players in the league,
especially in the playoffs roll around.
Yes. And I think Anthony Edwards is one of the biggest dogs in the league. So I'm kind of torn right now, but between, do I think they're going to live up to the hype this year and, maybe win 53 games or something like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. Still think they're going to be a top 5 seed in the West. I just don't know if they really have a shot to win it all this year.
I like the Wolves in the regular season and maybe even that number because, like we talked about with the Thunder and the Mavs, they're probably the third team. They're probably deeper than the Mavs, I would say.
Yeah.
Just because of their depth and what they're able to bring. Dante DiVincenzo, I think he's a really good addition to that team, but it doesn't thread the needle or change it a whole lot for me about my opinion of that team. We'll see how all that meshes together. I mean, we saw him play last night, but you can't take anything away from one game.
Yeah, game one especially.
Yeah, game one out of 82. You can't take anything away from that. So, I mean, you got guys like Naz Reid and Mike Conley still, Jaden McDaniels, who had a great playoffs last year.
Yeah.
So, I think the Wolves are going to be fighting for a top 3 spot in the West. I do.
Okay, so we'll split.
I think it's going to be a 3-man race for the 1 seed between the Wolves, Mavs, and Thunder.
See, I see it as if the Thunder are healthy all season, they run away with the 1 seed.
They should.
And that's just Vegas thinks so as well. 57.5. Sitting the over under on wins there. So yeah, not too high on the Timberwolves. We'll see. What happens there. I still think they're a decent squad. Like I said, top 5 in the West, somewhere in there. I could easily see them being the 3rd seed over the Denver Nuggets because I do think they're probably slightly better than the Nuggets. But then again, Jokic is the best player on the planet right now, and he plays in Denver. So it's hard for me to pick against the best player in the world on that. How about the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah.
They're old as hell. Somehow they have the 5th best odds to win the West. I don't know how. Their win total is 48.5. Obviously Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and is Bradley Beal still playing in the league? Yep. Is he still around there for the Suns? So
as far as I know,
I'm not high on the Suns at all.
I'm not at all either. I mean, you want to talk about a team with no depth? They got nothing. I mean, like Royce O'Neal is like one of their best.
And it's the same issue they had last year too, and they just did nothing about it.
Yeah.
Which I guess they don't have the money.
They don't have the money or assets or anything because they traded so much away to get Bradley Beal and stuff in and Kevin Durant as well. So I'm not high on the Suns at all. I think there'll be a kind of a fun team to watch, if they're on like TV and stuff because they do have some, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant. I don't consider Bradley Beal not really that much anymore, but Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, I think they're a fun team. But I mean, Yusuf Nurkic is a good player. Grayson Allen had a great season last year, but I mean, really outside of that, it's a whole lot of nothing for me.
I completely agree. I just don't even want to talk about him because I just it makes me want to vomit in my mouth thinking about how bad that they're probably going to be this year. So I'm gonna say under 48.5 wins
I
for the
for
Thunder.
sure, for
And I
sure.
think that that might even be an easy bet for us
I
there.
think they could be a playing team.
Yeah, yeah. And that's saying something with the guys that they have
Yeah.
starting on their roster. All right, who do you think is gonna be in the Western Conference Finals
I
this
think me and
season?
you have the same. I think me and you have the same pick. I'm going to go Thunder Mavs. Give us a not a rematch because it wasn't a second or Western Conference Finals, but a playoff rematch from last year.
I do as well. I see Jake on YouTube. So I joined late. Russell will lead Denver to a championship. I think you were saying. No, if the Thunder don't win the championship, or get bounced in the Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets, we'd like to see Russ win one. But I also offered up the point of saying maybe Russ at the deadline gets traded to Oklahoma City, and can come off the bench as like the eighth guy off the bench or something like that, and win
The
a
kid comes
championship
home.
that
The kid comes home.
way. Yeah, yeah. Which I don't fangirl about many players, right? But Russell Westbrook, I definitely would fangirl over because he's my favorite player of all time
It's
in the NBA.
a
So
childhood, you know. I mean,
yeah.
more. I guess you're older than me, but
Well, I
you're
mean,
older
I
than me.
was
But
I
he's like
was in
prime
junior
my
high.
childhood.
Yeah, I
Me
was
with
in
the Thunder
junior
being a
high
team.
his first season. So I went through junior
Yeah,
high and high school and all that. Watching Russell Westbrook and all that. So I'm definitely a massive fan. I've got some jerseys that I might look like the Marshmallow Man in if I put them on right now. But yeah, Western Conference Finals for me, Thunder, Mavs. I think Thunder win in 6. I'll say that. Although it doesn't matter,
I'll
we're
say that as well.
6 months away from that happening. So,
Yeah, I think
um,
instead of Mavs, Timberwolves teetering.
yes, I think that's good. So Jake also is a founding father of modern day Oklahoma City. Yes, yes. By the way, I can't wait until we get the new like concepts to drop for the new arena. Because they
The
just
renderings.
figured out who they're gonna, help plan all that stuff with. And I can't say his name because I forget it, but he built like planned the Chase Arena in San Francisco and a bunch of other big time
Allegiant
arenas.
Stadium,
Yeah,
Wembley.
yeah,
No, I mean, I heard I go to the Thunder's Twitter page and you can hear he did a quick little interview and they put a
yeah,
little clip of it on there and I loved what he had to say. He's like, I understand like what I'm building right now. Like Oklahoma City is in a renaissance right now and they're striving to go forward and this arena is going to help that. And I like he completely understands like what this arena will provide to Oklahoma City, and he's all on board for that. So I'm all on board with this guy, and
yeah.
I cannot wait for those renderings to come out.
Look, new arena, tallest building in North America. What can't Oklahoma City do, right? Which we'll see if the tallest building gets built. We'll see about that. All right, what do you what do you think
Why not
about?
us?
Yeah, exactly. Think about the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics, obviously defending champions. Their win total 58.5, which pencil me in for the over on that because I don't think much of the
Yeah,
Eastern Conference. And they just beat the hell out of the New York Knicks. So I think is the second best team in the Eastern Conference last night. So I'm very high on the Celtics. Obviously, repeating is hard to do. The Warriors were the last team to do that. What are your thoughts on the Boston Celtics?
everything you just said, man. Like I think they're so damn good. I think as long as they're healthy, as high as I am on the Thunder and all that, the Celtics are so good. They have a
Yeah,
counter to everything. They have a team that's bought in. They got a coach that's a good leader for all of them. I am super on the Celtics. Hammer that was it 58.5 because they're winning
yeah,
at least 60 games in my opinion.
yeah.
They're they're a super good team. I mean, don't really have to say much about what the Celtics are. I'm super high on them.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Yeah, look, there's two teams that are um, basically the same in the NBA, and that's the Celtics and the Thunder. Their rosters are built oddly similar, and I think they
Mm-hmm.
have two of the best head coaches in the league. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll get
Celtics
into
Thunder
that.
are like if you want to like do like the matchups of like Celtics Thunder, down the roster like
Yeah,
Shea, Tatum, Jada, Jalen Brown, Kristaps, Chet, just going down. It's a great matchup. I just think the Celtics right now next year could be a different conversation. But I think the Celtics, where they're at right now, are just one step ahead of the Thunder.
Yeah, I can get
I
down
mean, the
with
defending champs, and they've
Yeah.
returned 13 players from that team, and all the important ones.
Now, how about those New York Knickerbockers? 53.5 is their win total. Obviously got, beat down yesterday in Boston on ring night for the Boston Celtics. I still think they're going to be a good basketball team. Adding Cat, I don't know if that really does too much for me. I haven't really thought highly of Cat too much. I think he's also one of the softer players in the league. But I still think that team's going to be good there in New York.
Yeah, I think that right now they're definitely the second best team in the Eastern Conference. I mean, Jalen Brunson, Cat, as you said, Mikal Bridges. It's got a really, really good roster. I mean, as we know, they lost Hartenstein though. And Hartenstein I think was a big key role to that playoff.
Yeah, but losing
year.
Hartenstein and picking up a Cat, which Cat's a better shooter, but I don't know if he's a better facilitator like Hartenstein is.
Stuff too. Yeah. So I'm so high on the Knicks, but I think this is a Celtics conference to lose. But I do think the Knicks are the second best team in that conference right now.
I agree with you. I think that the Knicks are going to be there at the end of the season. All right, how about the Philadelphia 76ers, I should say, win total 49.5. They're going to be resting Joel Embiid to start the season. That's a new thing for them. Which, by the way, I hate that. If you're healthy, if you're healthy, game one. Well, Paul George is actually hurt. Joel Embiid, I think, is fake hurt. And they're just trying to, not have him hurt at some point because it's going to happen, right? With Joel Embiid, you got to fire him out there if he's healthy. And I hate that they're not doing it. It's so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Sixers are just going to be what the Sixers have been. Good in the regular season, decent, but you guys have me?
Yeah, we're good. Are you still there? Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
I'm getting that. I'm getting that Wi-Fi extender soon. Yeah. I just saw it glitch out.
All right.
I think they're going to be a good regular season team. Hell, dude. I mean, I think they could finish second in the East. Mean, they still got Paul George, Tyrese Maxey. I mean, Kyle Lowry is kind of one of those underrated. I mean, he's aging out, but he's a good facilitator for what they're trying to bring. I think Jared McCain, the freshman from Duke, I think he could be a pretty decent player for him this year. I think he's a good spot
TikToker though, dude. I'm tired of these TikTokers, man.
He's a Caleb Williams of the NBA, so I got to defend him. I got painting the fingernails and all.
Yeah.
But are a threat at all for the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, Jake,
not until I see it, at least.
Jake on YouTube said they're going to be running a clinic this year, a medical clinic. I agree. They've got a bunch of old guys there that are hurt nonstop. All right, how about the Milwaukee Bucks? The 76ers and Bucks actually playing right now. It's a 10-point game. Milwaukee's up with about a minute and a half left in the first half, 54-44 over the 76ers. I'm not sure what to think on the Bucks. Obviously, last year things didn't go their way, and I don't know how true this is. I might have got like NBA sentineled by seeing this on X the other day, but Giannis saying that he's gonna want to be traded if they don't do good this year. That kind of worries me if I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan. So, what are your thoughts on the Milwaukee Bucks? We got him. Hey, I tell you what, T-Bag, back out of the session and rejoin. We'll try and get
time
you back.
bomb.
Can you hear me?
I think Dame and Giannis are obviously Dame and Giannis. They're going to do Dame and Giannis things. Chris Middleton, I think, is starting to age out.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me?
So
back out and rejoin. That way we can do it that way.
Okay.
While we wait on T-Bag to do that, talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, I want them to be good, right? Them winning the championship a couple years ago was awesome. All the stuff that came out about that. we'll see what happens. I think Giannis is still one of the best players in the NBA. As I'm watching right here on my TV, that them play pretty good in this first game. But we'll see. Damian Lillard, I I don't know if that combo is going to work out necessarily. We'll see. They should be a decent team. I would probably have them as the third best team in the Eastern Conference over the Philadelphia 76ers. That's just for me based on injuries, because we all know that the 76ers are going to be hurt at some point, whether right now with Paul George or with Joel Embiid as well. All right, we got you back.
Yes. Can you hear
All
me?
right. Yes, you switched over to your phone. That's
I'm
a lot
done.
better.
I'm done with the laptop. I figured out what the problem is. It's whenever the roommates come home and put on the TV is when my Wi-Fi just dies out on me.
Yeah.
So the Wi-Fi extender will have. That is my promise to you guys. We'll have the Wi-Fi extender by the time we do our next show. Because this is
Perfect.
getting out of hand. But yeah, switched over to the phone, and this just already looks and feels so much better.
You're now blacked out on our screen. We can't see you. So whatever you did, undo that. There we go.
Okay.
All right. What are your thoughts on the Bucks?
I think they're a team they got Dame and Giannis, so you can get places with Damian Lillard and Giannis. I think they're kind of like a ticking time bomb, though. I think they're a team that could implode within a toxicity in the locker room, because Giannis has kind of done that turn heel thing where he was such one of those like likable NBA players, and now he's just one of those.
I need it my way.
Not my problem. There's nothing that's my problem.
Exactly.
I mean, Middleton's aging out. Brook Lopez is aging out. Bobby Portis, not aging out, but hasn't. He is what he is at this point. Pat Connaughton, So I mean, I think the Bucks are going to be a good basketball team. I think they're not going far, though.
I agree with you on that. So would you take the under 49.5 on their win total this year?
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, like, we say all this, and while you were off, I'd still say that they're probably going to be like the third best team in the Eastern Conference. That's how bad I think the Eastern Conference is.
Yeah, that's the thing. The East is so bad, man. And are they taking time bomb to me? Yeah, but I think they could still find a way to this based off talent alone in the East.
Yeah.
Just find a way to get to 51s or something.
I
don't know. I'd probably stay away from that number.
Yeah. All right. Now this one, I think the Cavs win total was a lot higher, but the fifth best odds to win the Eastern Conference was the Miami Heat, with Jimmy Butler, obviously. Their win total 44.5. I think the Cavs was like 55 or something like that. And I kind of looked at it, I was like, huh? Because that's one of the top numbers in the Eastern Conference. I don't think they're one of the top teams in the East. So what's your thoughts on the Miami Heat, who somehow, the last 2 years they've been the 8th seed, and they've somehow found their way later in the Eastern Conference playoffs. So what are your thoughts on the Heat?
Yeah, I mean, they were the 8th seed 2 years ago and found a way to make it to the finals. So
yeah,
I mean, I think that's just what the Heat are. They got the Heat culture, Eric Spoelstra, Jimmy Butler. I mean, I think they're a good basketball team, obviously. And when the playoffs roll around, you just never know, because even if they're the 8th seed and they have to play in the play-in game, you're not going to be shocked if you look up and then the Eastern Conference Finals is just kind of what they do. So I don't know. I don't really know what the Heat. I think they have a pretty good roster. It's not the best roster you've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, Jaime Jaquez, who's going to be, was this his second year? He was a rookie last year, right?
Yeah.
I think he's a really good player. Then obviously you got Bam, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, who could be kind of one of the more hot and cold guys. Same with Duncan Robinson. So I think the Heat are probably going to avoid the play-in this year, and I would take probably the over in that win total. But you just never know with this team, because they could go 500 and be in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, exactly. It's just something weird that they do, and Spoelstra is one of the better coaches in the league. So yeah, I would probably go over on that 44.5 as well. All right, who do you have in the Eastern Conference Finals?
I'm going to go Celtics and New York.
I agree with you completely. Boston Celtics, New York Knicks. I think those are the two best teams in the Eastern Conference. Who do you have in your NBA Finals?
I got Thunder versus Celtics. I think me and you have kind of the same same picks.
And look, this is like chalk. This
regard.
is chalk for just about like everything that everyone's thinking this year. So Thunder and Celtics in the finals. Who do you have winning that finals?
Celtics. I think Celtics in 6.
And see, I want to agree with you, but I think that Oklahoma City addressed all the needs that they had in a very good way. And if they're healthy this season, I don't know if there's a better team in the NBA than the Oklahoma City Thunder this season, based on the shooting that they have, the defense that they have. And look, I know the Celtics are great. They're awesome. But I would take the Thunder in 7 to win the NBA Finals.
They will. The one thing the Thunder will have going for them is they're going to have the best player on the court.
In Shea.
In every game. Every game, in my opinion, this season, outside of when you play the Nuggets, they're going to have the best player on the court.
Yeah.
And I think even this year, they just might flat out have the best player on the court. So we'll talk about MVP in a second.
I completely agree with you. So I have the Thunder winning the championship. A little hometown cook in there for you. Look, I won't lie, right? That's I want them to win, so might as well pick them, right? And then you have the Thunder and Celtics, but you have the Celtics winning that one. All right, let's get right into our season awards here. MVP, I believe that either Luka or Jokic have the best odds. Shea has the second best odds. So for MVP, who are you picking this season to win the MVP? Oh,
get my mic.
Losing? There you go.
I was readjusting my headphones so I could get the mic in the right place. I had it at the bottom. I was kind of holding it up. For MVP, man, I'm gonna go Shea. I'm gonna take the homer pick here. I think Shea is gonna take that next step. I think he is fine. Real ballheads knew how good Shea was 2 years ago when he led them to the play-in game and was first team All-NBA. Last year in the playoffs, he performed. He performed in the playoffs. He's the one Thunder player that game in and game out was playing at a high level. And I think he opened up a lot of eyes to how good he is. So I'm going to take Shea as the MVP this year.
I am as well, and it's because, like we said earlier when we were talking about the Thunder, is that he's every year he works on some element of his game. This year was the 3-point shooting. We've seen the preseason that he's gonna be pretty good at shooting threes this year, and the Thunder are gonna shoot a lot more of them. And he's one of the last guards in the NBA that actually plays defense. Right? There's not too many guards that go out, they're elite on offense. They can go out and play good defense on the defensive side of the ball. So, look, he finished second last year. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to say that, look, Shea wins the MVP this year. So I'm with you on that. How about your defensive player of the year?
I'd be dumb to not say Victor Wembanyama.
Yes, I think that's the consensus, and I think he's a heavy favorite to win that. Chet does have the second best odds to win defensive player of the year. But yeah, look, Wembanyama is going to be, I think, a different animal this season and going forward.
I think he's going to win 2 awards this year, too. So we're about to get to another one I think he's going to win.
Give me Wembanyama to win defensive player of the year. So does Teabag. Most improved player of the year. Who you got?
Wemby.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna sit here and have. I
think he's going to be an All NBA guy this year.
Yeah, no, he. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I think he is going to do that for sure. I'm picking Wemby as well. J-Dub has the second best odds at that, and I think J-Dub's going to take a leap this year. Right, year 3, he's going to take a leap, and he's probably going to be, on the bench in the All-Star game if I had to guess. But he's going to have, I think, a great season. Now, obviously, that ankle injury, we'll see how that goes. Need to get him back healthy. We'll see if he plays tomorrow night in Denver. But I think J-Dub's set up for a good season. No one's going to be able to outpace Wembanyama when it comes to those 2 awards.
Another guy, an old Thunder player we talked about earlier. I think Josh Giddey can be up there for that award too. He has like the fourth best odds to win it. But I think he can be one of those guys that people kind of talk about, because I do think Josh Giddey is going to be able to play his best basketball this year in Chicago.
Yeah, no, like we've said, he's a good basketball player. It just wasn't the right fit with him in Oklahoma City. So I think he'll be good in Chicago. All right, how about your rookie of the year?
So I'm gonna Zach Edey, because the odds just tell me to take Zach Edey.
Yeah,
but I got one, and it's a team I'm fairly high on. We haven't talked about them, but Reed Shepherd with the Rockets. I think the Rockets are going to be a sneaky, really good team this year. Maybe a playoff team that's going to avoid the play-in, like a 5-6 seed. I'm high on the Rockets this year. I think they have a really good roster, and I think Reed Shepherd's going to be one of those guys that's going to come in and help them improve. So I'll take Zach Edey just because of Vegas odds tell you to take Zach Edey. But I think Reed Shepherd could definitely be up there in that conversation.
I was between those two guys as well. I went with Edey, kind of like you, because the odds are just so much in his favor to win that. And one team that we didn't talk about and don't really talk about is the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Obviously they're going to have everyone, healthy. My only issue is that Ja Morant's going to screw it up somehow. I don't know how he's going to do it, but something tells me from his history that he is going to screw it up. So I want to be high on the Grizzlies, but I just can't trust in the head that's on Ja Morant's shoulders.
Yeah. He could very well be flashing a gun in the camera at any given moment.
Yes. So, which is crazy because he's 25 now and he's been suspended the last 3 seasons for doing something dumb. And then obviously last year got hurt whenever he did come back. I think he played maybe a week before he got hurt.
It wasn't long.
Yeah. So I want to be high on the Grizzlies. I just can't trust Ja Morant.
I also want to see what Ja Morant, because he's still going to be a really good player, don't get me wrong, but he relies so much on explosiveness and coming off was it a knee injury? Because it was a significant injury. I think it was a knee injury.
I think it might have been his shoulder, though.
Oh, okay. I might be, because I could be dead wrong. I
think he had a knee at one point, but I think it was a shoulder last season that did him in.
Nonetheless, going to see what he looks like coming back from injury. But I do think the Grizzlies are going to be one of those sneaky, we're going to look up at the standings in February, and they're going to be in the heat of things.
Yeah, I heard Jim say the other day when I was driving home, he's 25, so his frontal lobe has fully developed, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm still doing stupid stuff at 25.
I'm 25 right now, and frontal lobe definitely not developed.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. All right, how about your 6th man of the year?
I'm gonna go with he has good odds, but it's not as good as what Malik Monk is. He's the leader right now. I think Miles McBride. I think the Knicks are going to be a top 3 seed in the East, and I think Miles McBride's going to have a big season helping them lead it there. So I'm going to take Miles McBride to win 6th man of the year.
I looked at the list, and I was like, man, I don't know who to pick, and this name just kind of jumped out to me because he was great, before the All-Star game last year. And he wasn't an All-Star, but he participated in a bunch of the All-Star stuff last year, and then got hurt, and his team made a playoff run, and he wasn't there. That's Benedict Mathurin. I think he's got a chance to be the 6th man off the bench for the Pacers and be really good. I know everyone in Indiana is really high on Mathurin, so I think he's a sneaky pick for 6th man of the year.
Yeah, I like Benedict Mathurin a lot. I like the Pacers a lot. Pacers are one of the funnest teams in the league.
They're fast. They go up and down.
Yeah. They have a fun roster.
We say that, and they're down 2 to the Pistons right now. The Pistons not very good, but it is game 1. It is game 1. All right, final award before we wrap this thing up. Who is your coach of the year?
I just mentioned this team a little. Talk about Reed Shepherd. I'm going to go Ime Udoka. I think the Rockets very well are going to be a playoff team this year and avoid the play-on. I think they're going to be a top 6 team in the West. I like their roster a lot. You got Jalen Green, like we already mentioned, Reed Shepherd. You got, Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Jabari Smith. So, Shane Goon, Alperen Shane Goon, or whatever his first name is. No one likes him around here because he hates the Thunder. He's salty that the Thunder didn't draft him. But I think the Rockets have a really good roster. I think they were just, they reminded me of the Thunder of a couple years ago last year. And this year, I think they're going to make a step. Not a step like the Thunder did, because they weren't where the Thunder were 2 years ago when the Thunder made the play-in. But I do think they're going to make a big step this year and and really come to. And I think Ime Udoka is going to win Coach of the Year.
Yeah, Ime Udoka got to keep it in his pants and not try and sleep with people he shouldn't be. So I think that should be number one on the list for him. No, I
Don't
think
sleep with any voters' wives. Do not sleep with any voters' wives.
Yes, I agree with that. I think he's a good coach, but I think that Joe Mazzulla is going to win Coach of the Year this year.
Hard to argue.
I think between him and Mark Daignault, those are in Spoelstra. I could throw in as well. I think those are the top three coaches in the NBA. I want to throw Pop in, but maybe am I wrong for saying he's too old?
No, you're not too wrong.
Okay.
I think it's just he's Greg Popovich, and I don't think he's going to win.
I mean, he's a genius when it comes to basketball. Obviously.
Oh yeah. But I don't think anyone's going to.
He's also almost like 80 years old, sitting there on the sideline.
Yeah.
So
hang it up, Pop.
We'll see. Yeah, but I kind of do want to watch him see it through on this Wembanyama stuff, just to see what possibly could become of him. But yeah, I think Mazzulla is going to win the Coach of the Year this year. So, all right, that was our NBA preview. Unfortunately, we're not going to be on Sunday evening because we got a Thunder game that night. We've got Thunder basketball Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday this week. So we won't be on Sunday evening for our weekend football recap. We'll be on. I have to look at the schedule. Probably like Tuesday of next week if I had to guess.
Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, one of those 2 days we'll be on. I don't want to tell you for sure, and then we're not, but we'll be back at some point early next week. But yeah, that was a good, nice little get to talk some ball. We're back in action tomorrow with the Thunder taking on the Nuggets, TNT, or you can hear the call on the Sports Animal. Matt Pinto getting after it. Our pregame starts at. This game starts at 9. Pregame starts at 7:30. Sure, we'll say 7:30.
Sounds good.
And then we'll have obviously the post game show after, and I'll probably be leaving around like 1 a.m. And just having no fun at that time. But all right, until then, we'll be back with you guys next week at some time. I'm Preston Poole. That's Tyler Adams. Follow us on X at Preston Poole 405 at Tyler's Takes. The pod account is at Unadvised Pod. See you guys next week.